Guys, welcome to Black Scout Survival. So the past few days we've been talking a lot about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and the internet has went wild with conspiracy theories. You name it, everyone you can think of. And so there's a lot of people that's either thinking, "A, this is just some trans shooter group," and then other people think it's a larger conspiracy. And so I found this clip of Navy SEAL Commander Mark Devine, where he's discussing it, and he goes on to say that he definitely believes it is a professional hit. I also got my homeboy Jimmy Watson. I'm going to bring on in a minute, former Marine, Blackwater, Navy SEAL sniper, and a list goes on. I'll bring him on in a moment, but I'll play this clip from Mark Devine first.
The assassination occurred suddenly when a sharp gunshot rang out across the university courtyard. While speaking to the crowd, Charlie Kirk was struck in the neck. Blood quickly appeared as he instinctively clutched his wound and collapsed from his chair. Investigations confirmed the bullet was fired from roughly 200 yards away. Given the elevation of the shooter's position, he had a clear and unobstructed line of sight to the stage where Kirk was addressing the audience. The bullet's trajectory descended steeply and precisely through open space to strike Kirk in the neck, strongly indicating the use of a scoped firearm designed for long-range accuracy.
Okay, so this is the diagram. You can leave this up, LJ, but basically Kirk was sitting here, and what we've been told is that he's sitting at the corner, or the shooter's at the corner of that building. So I guess how difficult, if you saw that, how difficult is this shot? They tell us it's 200 yards away, descending angle.
Very difficult from my perspective. And I can tell you right here that I probably wouldn't be able to make that shot.
Right now, or
have to be
at the height
right
of
now.
your training?
No, right now. I mean, not all SEALs are snipers.
Okay.
Right. In fact, only a small percentage of SEALs are snipers, and sniper training is very specialized. Right. There's a lot that goes into it. Honestly, like if you said, "Hey, Mark, you're going to go shoot this guy," like I would have to go back and do some serious research and literally spend countless hours with the right weapon, right, under tutelage on how to shoot.
All right, Jimmy Watson, Marine, Navy SEAL sniper, Blackwater, John McAfee's security as well as business partner. He's got a resume for days. We could keep going, but we'll stop there. Jimmy, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, it's an honor to be in front of you and your awesome audience of mighty warriors, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. If you're not following Jimmy, go follow him on Instagram. High motivational guy, and got all the creds to back it up.
Mighty Warrior 283, Mighty Warrior 283. Thank you so much.
That's it, Mighty Warrior 283. Go follow him on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram too, damn it. But anyway, Jimmy and I have been talking about this Charlie Kirk shooting for days now, and so basically, I just played Mark Devine, who said, because everybody's saying it's easy. It's an easy shot. Jimmy is a Navy SEAL sniper, and he and I was talking about this other morning about it would be a difficult shot because of the stress and so on. Go ahead, and Jimmy, tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, first, I really appreciate Mark Devine's brutal honesty. You see a lot of guys get on and say it's an easy shot, and the guys that are saying that simply have never taken that shot. Now, they may have killed 100 prairie dogs a day like I did in West Texas when I was a kid, and you think that a 200-yard shot is easy. It's all tickles and pickles when the wind is right, when you're with your buddies drinking a beer. I don't advocate drinking and shooting, but you know what I mean. So you're sitting there, right, and it's easy shot all day. You put in the stress elements. And don't talk to me about mental disorders calming you, okay? I don't care who you are. It's going to be freaking stressful. You're going to be shaken. That crosshairs is never steel. This ain't the day of the jackal. It's not, it's doing a figure eight all the time, and you're breaking when it hits center mass. That's exactly why I said from the very beginning, advanced or super beginner, you do not shoot at the neck or the head. You shoot center mass or shoot a center mass right here. And the bullet happens to elevate, which I believe now the entry wound is the neck, okay? So all these people saying that it's an easy shot, it's not. For instance, when I went through Naval Special Warfare Sniper School on the stocks, I couldn't believe how difficult 150 and 200.
All right, guys, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. Go, Jimmy. Sorry.
At sniper school, one of the most shocking things that I realized, because I always thought snipers took shots from 700 yards, 1,000, 2,000, 500, all this crazy crap, okay? It doesn't work like that, generally speaking, and I'm going to get into the specifics of why this would be an extremely hard shot, because we're not even accounting for a cold bore shot, okay? So if anybody disagrees with me and this awesome guy right here, this SEAL that just said that, they haven't taken this shot in real life. They haven't been under the pressures in the reality of heat waves in your glass. You could have a 25 power Night Force optic, the best system and platform ever, and miss a 200-yard shot. And this is at a steel target, okay? And the reason is you have all these different elemental variables. Let's say he is on a roof. You've got the heat from the roof. You've got the heat from the stage. You've got the heat from the crowd. You've got all kinds of movement in your glass. It's not impossible, of course. It can be made all day long, but it is under extreme amount of stress. You've got eyeballs everywhere looking at you, and I just don't see it happen. And let's talk about the cold bore shot, okay? People are forgetting that something that we work on in the SEALs all the time is your cold bore shot. You take the first shot in the morning, and it's just straight up cold barrel. And that sucker, no matter how good of a shot you are, or no matter what your dope in your rifle, that cold bore shot is generally off enough to miss the target, but not at 200 yards, but it's going to be off. It's usually like up and off to the left. It can hit in the shoulder area stuff. That's why you have to record it over and over and over. And you've got to know two different dopes. You've got to know a lot of different dopes, but you got to know your dope for your cold bore. You've got to know your dope for your hot, your hot action. Okay. So like, let's say I just do a single shot. You need to have a warmed up rifle, because if you don't, that round's going to be way off compared to where that round is usually.
Yeah, and the fact of getting caught, the stress of that.
The stress of getting caught. And then you have a problem with the sound and the report, in official technical terms, of the rifle in of itself. Okay, we don't see a can. A lot of people call them silencers. That's wrong. It's not silencing anything, but you don't see a can on the weapon. Again, a can adds another dope. Okay, so you got cold bore, you got a can. You don't see a can on the rifle there. So if it wasn't a can, all right, excluding the cold bore, now you have a shot that's heard around the world, literally. A 30-06 is basically going to knock your feelings out if you're anywhere close to it, okay? So my point is, in the video, all right, we don't hear the report of a 30-06 from 200 yards away. If, in fact, it's a 30-06, I would say, based on my experience, that it was more like 500 yards away. That's the report you hear. It's like a poof, snap, right? But we don't hear that. So we have to, so for me, I'm trying to look at this logically. I'm not in this for the views. I'm in this for the truth, and that creates the views, okay? We all have some sort of agenda out there, but if we lean more towards an agenda of truth, I think that we can speak on this authentically. And if we don't speak on this and we have the experience to speak on it, then we're kind of cowards because we're not doing anything about it. Would you agree? And so here you have a problem, okay? What it sounds like to me is that the rifle does not have a can on it, all right? Which a lot of people are saying. What it sounds like to me, considering the new shooter theory that most people see,
I'm going to play that.
And in that video, you can see the same, what appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself.
We're not counting gang violence. Great.
Yeah, and we see that.
Right. Right. And I don't want to get into specifics because there's freaking psychopaths and weirdos watching this right now, okay? Excluding myself. All right? But here's the problem is that you have a very significant sound, and that sound from my experience is from inside a building. It's called recessed loophole shooting, okay? The farther back in a room, and I'm trying not to say much, but the farther back in a room that I am as a sniper in an urban environment, the better. If I can be 2-3 rooms deep, all right, imagine you shoot from your bathroom, but you can see down the hallway and you got a space like this out the window's cracked open a little bit. You fire, that's the sound that you're going to hear. That's more along the lines of the sound that you're going to hear in the video that you heard, that pop. It's muffled. It's not silenced, but it's muffled like it's coming from an enclosed room. As you stated on the phone with me yesterday, I give you credit for saying this. It's an echo chamber. In any urban environment where you have buildings around or concrete and pavement, you're going to have this echo chamber that's going to bounce off of walls. A 30-06 man, you're going to hear that thing go boom at 200 yards, and then it's going to go boom, 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 snap. You understand? It doesn't do that. We have a very muffled boom like that. That's from inside at least a room deep. I won't say that it's 2 or 3 rooms, but I'm saying it's recess shooting, that loophole shooting that I'm talking about. If that's the case, all right, then you have to lean more towards a professional did this. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't want to go down this route. Even in my original takes on these videos, I said it's an amateur, it's an entry wound. But the more and more I looked at it, I just had to come to terms with, look, Jimmy, I know you don't want to believe this, but it's just, it just leans more towards on a hired gun or a shooter, an assassin. And it's not that far into a conspiracy, and I can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, man. So that image we saw was from the left-hand side. Now, something interesting, a guy came out. I'm going to play the clip right after he's being asked about it, and he says that he heard a shot from the left, and instinctually, you hear the sound, you're gonna look, and so he does, and they shut him down. I think you use this clip on your Instagram.
Just did today.
I was standing from probably the 3rd row in the bottom. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Now you saw how they stopped him. I want to be a truth seeker here. My point of view is as to why they stopped him. They're just angry, and like in the teams when a guy would die, with one of our swim buddies die, and I know you being in the Marine Corps and in the military, when things happen bad, and then somebody starts talking about it and opening their mouth about it, you're just like, hey man, shut the F up, bro. Like, shut up. And I think that's what we saw there. That's not like within the conspiracy realm. I think that's just a lot of fired up people that love Charlie Kirk, right?
Yeah, I can see that. I think the biggest thing to take away from that is where he heard the shot come from. And like you just said, we believe because of the bias they teach or told us, he was shot from the front. You're seeing it from that. But if you slow down and watch the footage, it looks like, especially with the blood coming like there was force coming this direction.
Right. And you make a great point. It's all about, the most accurate witness testimony is directly after it. This was probably taken just an hour. I don't even know. I don't want to speculate, but it was in very, very short time. You can see everybody's amped up. Okay. The first thing he says is, I heard a gunshot and I turned to look at it. Now, when I was in tons of firefights in Baghdad, Iraq, one of the most frustrating things that I realized early on in big firefights was you could never tell where it came from because of the report and the echoing of the belt-fed machine guns in traffic circles where buildings are circling, that echo chamber we're talking about. Now, the only exception to this rule was if there was a one shot, like a sniper. Pop! Then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you go like this, left or right. Wherever it comes from is exactly what you do. This guy is very, very clear that he heard it from the left side. And wherever he's standing, with the exception of maybe one spot in that crowd, if you put him in the front of the stage, which I believe is what he said, and it's a left turn like this, that's exactly where the new shooter theory is. That marries up and collaborates the entry and the exit wound.
Yes. Yeah. You know, speaking of the shooting, there's also some other oddities with this case. Now, basically, America's trying to say this is the guy who did it. Okay. Now we got text messages here that read like it was written by artificial intelligence. It's just too damning. Like, why would you go into such detail? You know, he's a high IQ guy. He obviously pulled off a E&E plan and basically got turned in by his father, which none of that makes sense either. But the thing is that he would be smart enough to know that I shouldn't just outline, and you guys can screenshot this and read through it, to basically put all the information out there. And then within the Discord group, he basically admits to strangers that he doesn't know that he did it. Now, this is a high IQ guy, and you would think that, you know, he went through all these procedures. Then he just tells him, yeah, I did it.
Look, I honestly, with all my training experience, I don't know if I could pull this off. Okay. And I mean, this guy, if it is him, yes, he's disenfranchised. He's got some screws loose, but not loose enough to have an unbelievably excellent plan. But then all of a sudden he ruins his whole plan. Like, if he didn't want to get caught, then why did he run? He should have just sat on the roof if he sent those text messages.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then there was also other guys working here. Man lied about shooting Charlie Kirk to draw attention from real assassin, and there was multiple of these guys. You know, and I kind of want to go into that. The thing is that this may not be a government. It may not be a foreign government. It may not. We don't know. But what we do know is, like, through the BLM riots, all that stuff, George Soros, these NGOs were funding these Antifa groups to go do things. Yeah. So this is obviously a group of people, some funding involved. There were strangers showing up at Tyler Robinson's duplex that he was staying with his boyfriend. Out-of-state tags. I have heard there were some bank transfers. I have not gotten deep into that yet. But similar to Thomas Crook's type stuff. So is it foreign government? Is it just someone out there with a lot of money that used another group to conduct this? And Tyler Robinson was the patsy. We've seen before in history where people will take the blame for something, the credit for something, just to get, their fame.
It's validation. It's notoriety for once in their life. Mm-hmm. Somebody the other day said, I'm tired of seeing this video in all this assassinations. They should stop showing these videos. No. The real problem is they should stop assassinating or trying to assassinate our American people. Yeah. And there wouldn't be videos about it.
Americans are so, TikTok and Netflix and fast food that the realities of the world, because in other countries, this kind of shit happens all the time. But we're so pulled from reality, and we live in such a conditioned world where you can go pick up a milkshake right now if you wanted to, or a latte. And so people, when they see something like this, they're like, oh my gosh. It's because the weakened society we live in, and I think it plays a factor in all that.
Yeah, and speaking of other countries, in Israel, it doesn't have to be Benjamin Netanyahu signing off on this. I highly doubt he knows anything. But what it can be is like what you said, a very wealthy person that just doesn't want Charlie Kirk's message out. It could be the government of Israel. I'm not going to lay blame on them yet, okay? But I do and I'm going to tippy toe around this one, man, because in real life, okay, and this just came to me the other day. When I was on the run from the FBI, I got arrested. Trust me, I paid my dues. All right, I'm not on the run right now. All right, but when I was on the run in Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, I needed that moolah, and so I reached out to a couple cats. They reached out to some others, and then I got a call. All right, and I was on a one-way plane ticket to San Salvador to meet with the El Salvador government, their Department of Defense at their embassy. This was, and the reason why I'm mentioning this, okay, or I wouldn't at all, but it was sanctioned by their government for me, an Israeli Mossad ex guy, okay, and special ops type guy, who was extremely smart, brilliant guy. I'm still impressed with that guy. And another uh, SEAL from the highest echelons of the SEALs. And we were all out, of course, and we met together for the first time, us three, and we were tasked to go in as surfers and volcano watchers in Nicaragua. All right. And if you don't believe this, I'm glad, by the way. Big disclaimers. You know what I mean? Stay sheltered. Don't believe this. But we went into Nicaragua and were tasked to kidnap this really bad guy who had stolen a bunch of money from San Salvador. Okay. And now he was bedded down with a TikTok star, this Honey Boo Boo, in this compound with two guards. It would have been super easy just to serve some ice cream, if you know what I'm saying, to him, but they wanted him taken alive. It was extremely hard. And how you know I'm not lying about this is that it wasn't successful. We did some big attempts, But my point is to this crazy story, okay, think about this. That really happened. And we were connected with other individuals at the highest departments in America, okay, doing this. And I couldn't believe it. All right. I was kind of shocked that how do you get into this spot in your life? How do you find yourself in this position? But it wasn't successful, but we were trying to get him back to the El Salvador government, to the new guy, the new president that's in right now, because he promised part of his election promise, like, politicians always promise that within 6 months he would get this ex-president of San Salvador who was exiled in Nicaragua back alive to stand trial. All right, it didn't happen. My point is, though, is take that situation, reverse it, turn it around a little bit, and if you think that can't happen from their side into America to do similar things against what they would consider bad actors, what we would consider good actors, it's extremely plausible, and it's not even in a conspiracy. So people that think, oh, this is just a conspiracy. No, it's that. This, my friend, is not a conspiracy theory. It's just a reality, and it happens,
Yeah.
but we're pretty sheltered here across the big pond.
Yeah. That's the thing. And the other oddity to this is that he had such a great E&E plan, but he threw his rifle off in the woods. In these woods that he apparently changed clothes in and everything, but he threw the rifle down instead of getting out with it. Why would you leave the evidence there? And then to think that he carried the rifle with these skinny jeans on that he's wearing. And I've showed this a few times about him jumping from the roof. There's no possible way this kid jumped from the roof with a rifle. This rifle was nowhere to be seen. FBI also said that they alleged the Kirk assassin left a note explaining everything, but that got destroyed. The FBI said that he broke down the backpack or the rifle and put it in the backpack. So I don't trust the FBI. I know you've dealt with them.
Oh, God. I've been waiting for this my whole life, Phil Collins once said,
Yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Now they're saying Epstein is a hoax and that he had no clients and so on. That'll be another video, though. But
and why is it being ignored? Why is it being ignored from Big T? I love Big Trump, man. I'm a big supporter. But you remember when the Epstein stuff came out, Trump was like, what? Wait, you guys are still talking about that?
Yep.
And you know he's being briefed for an hour every day of the top subject. It was the #1 streaming viral thing for like 2 weeks, which is really hard to do. This Charlie Kirk's almost there too. If we
Yeah.
pull our American spirit together. And Trump was like, "What? What do you mean? What? Y'all still talking about that?" And I'm getting that same vibe. All
Yeah,
right.
man.
I'm getting that same vibe of like nothing to see here. I'm going to London today to do this big $10 billion deal to support it. What's going on?
He there was a Donald Trump per TMZ skips Kennedy Center Charlie Kirk vigil for golf. He went to play on his own golf course instead of the Charlie Kirk. Kirk was a big supporter of his.
Right.
It doesn't make sense, man. None of it makes sense. And so, I mean, we could be chasing rabbits all day, but a few things that I think we can digest from talking to you. One, the rifle was not in a backpack. He would need specialized tools, and then even then, it wouldn't fit in the backpack.
Yeah, there again. Let's stop right there. There again. If I let's say I'm successful at taking this 200-yard shot with heat waves and all this crazy stuff, anxiety and all this stuff, and then I'm gonna have the freaking wherewithal in balls to stay and linger around on the roof, call a gunsmith, have him come over and take this freaking thing apart, guys. Please. And then I believe the FBI, and I could be wrong here, so forgive me if I am. I don't want to ever spread false stuff, But I believe the FBI said at one point there was a round spent in the chamber. Again, you're going to take that, this ain't no Glock, bro. You just take apart in the woods real quick.
Absolutely, that makes sense. And then you're going to reassemble it, and
you're going to reassemble it, bro, with a scope on it.
Yeah. He thought about everything except what to do with the rifle afterwards. And then the shooting, obviously we saw that flash come from this side of the building, the muffling of it. And dude, I don't know if I talked to you when I first heard it, because I was like, dude, this sounds really muffled. It doesn't sound suppressor, but it sounds muffled,
Right.
And then going into your theory, from your experience, not a theory, your experience is.
All I got is facts, homie.
Yeah, how will we conducted? It all makes sense. I'm not saying we have all the answers, but I think we would fool ourselves not to ask the questions.
Well, I really appreciated what you said. It's important that we dispel things as soon as we can. All right. And if y'all know me by now, big shout out to all y'all, much love. If y'all know me by now, I am the first to just come clean with the terrible human being that I actually am. So if I'm wrong, I'll always get on there and say, man, I messed that up, guys. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but as you're saying here, things aren't lining up, and it shouldn't be so confusing. Again, where's the autopsy? I know it just happened, okay, but I heard the family was refusing an autopsy. If it was me, when my little brother died, we did an autopsy, and we pretty much knew what happened. You just want to, and by the way, if there's a homicide, and correct me if I'm wrong, the detectives and police force out there, I love you guys. If it's a homicide or something or unaliving, there's a mandatory autopsy. I know that's the way in New Mexico where my little brother died. There's a mandatory autopsy.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a choice in it. I remember talking to the detective on the phone, and I said, well, we don't want an autopsy. And he said, well, it's mandatory when there's a potential of a homicide or something. We just want to clear that. Why not just clear the plate and say, look, this is exactly what happened. This is where the shot came from. That autopsy will tell us, will link everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, brother, I think your insight gave everyone some answers. Obviously we're not going to know the full picture, because I believe there's covering up going on. But I do appreciate you coming on here, man, and giving your experience. Always love having you on here, bro.
Huge honor, brother. At Mighty Warrior 283, come on over. and get up on this IG with me. I really appreciate you, Black Scout Survival, and your audience, man. Love all y'all. We're on the same team, man. Same fight.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys, go follow Jimmy, and he's got the superhuman protocol. He's into a lot of the same things we are here at Black Scout. Anyway, guys, we're going to stay frosty, stay strapped, always stay dangerous. Take care.